After becoming sworn brothers, Chen Lang still sat in a daze, his mind in a tangle. Everything happened so fast. Was he falling into a trap or did the other guy work into his? Did this guy seek him out just to lure him to floating Pagoda Mountain? Just then, he spoke up, "Brother, since we are now sworn brothers, there are some things I must say directly." Chen Lang quickly clasped his hands. "Big brother, please guide me. I am all ears." Wu Ju snorted softly. The person who found a way to modify bloodlines is indeed a miracle worker, but such heaven-defying matters shouldn't be used on commoners. It's a waste of divine resources like feeding dragon liver and phoenix marrow to pigs. It's an insult to the ancient gods. Chen Lang's eyes widened. "Is it that serious?" Wu Ju nodded. "More serious than you imagine. By saving Zhu Yin, you've angered several ancestors. They intended to seize you and punish you. If not for my teacher's intervention, seeing your talent, you wouldn't be standing here now." Chen Lang bowed his head. "I come from the countryside and don't know the rules. Fortunately, Big Brother pointed it out. In the future, I absolutely won't dare to touch bloodlines recklessly again." Wu Ju nodded. "That's good. Let me ask you, do you want to join Floating Pagoda Mountain?" Chen Lang's eyes lit up. "Of course I do. What could be more honorable than becoming a member of Floating Pagoda Mountain? Then pack up and follow me immediately." Upon hearing this, Chen Lang stood frozen like a wooden statue for several breaths. Then he rubbed his hands and gave a forced smile. "Wait a moment, I still have debts to settle. Once I eliminate the crown prince of you, deal with the third prince, and wipe out the Zai clan, I can apprentice myself with peace of mind." Wu Ju was speechless, wanting to look up and sigh at the heavens. Chen Lang grinned and continued, "Why don't you help me get revenge while you're at it, big brother?" Wu Ju coughed. "Floating Pagoda Mountain is a sect beyond the mundane world. We don't interfere in secular affairs." "That's a pity," Chen Lang sighed. "1 year is enough for me. By the way, what is your master's name?" "Wu Du Tour." "Sounds majestic and powerful." "She's a woman," Wu Ju replied. Upon hearing this, Chen Lang immediately had several bold thoughts, but outwardly he remained solemn. "A female master is even better. Though I haven't met her, in my heart, she is already the morning star guiding my way. Please pass on my words, big brother." Disciple Chen Lang wishes his honorable teacher eternal beauty and longevity as long as heaven and earth. In truth, Wu Ju had come to warn or even punish him. Chen Lang's actions had touched the interests of Floating Pagoda Mountain. Without protection, he would have been forced to hand over all research data. But now, Wu Ju felt that if Chen Lang joined, he might even become a favorite. Wu Ju looked at him. His thick-skinned nature was truly peerless. "Brother, you saved Zhu Yin, saved the wife of Sword King Lai Tangqiu, and turned 2,000 discarded soldiers into an elite legion. That's a miracle. But this concerns the interests of Floating Pagoda Mountain. Can you hand over your research materials to us?" Chen Lang replied immediately, "I was planning to offer them even if you hadn't asked." He disappeared for half an hour and returned with a thick stack of documents. "These are all my insights into bloodline research and ancient parasites. I hope Big Brother and the teacher can provide further guidance." Wu Ju opened them. They were filled with words, formulas, and diagrams as messy as a spiderweb. It was a headache to look at, but amidst the pile was a portrait of Chen Lang. The drawing was so handsome and elegant that even the wind would avoid it. "The master hasn't met me yet, so she must know what I look like." Chen Lang smiled until his eyes crinkled. After saying that, he clapped his hands to give a signal. Immediately, the subordinates lined up to carry in various large and small chests, filling the room. Before Wu Ju could recover from his shock, Chen Lang rattled on, "These are masks, these are fragrances, there are even sanitary pads, plus dozens of trendy outfits. Please give them to the master as a small token of my filial piety." Wu Ju stood silently, thinking this kid was quite methodical in his flattery. It wouldn't be a loss for the master to take him in. He had come empty-handed and was leaving with a full widen. He clasped his hands and said, "Junior brother is indeed filial. I shall take my leave now." However, as soon as he stepped out, he saw Chen Lang's people continuing to load more chests onto a large cart. He asked in confusion, "What is this?" Chen Lang replied quickly, "It's rare for Big Brother to visit. These are specialties of the state of you that I've prepared." Wu Ju politely said he was too kind, but internally wondered if this guy had any more tricks. Suddenly, Chen Lang took Wu Ju's hand, his eyes shining like stars. "Big brother, remember to deliver everything to the master and her spouse. Disciple Chen Lang wishes the master eternal blessings and longevity as great as the southern mountain." After Wu Ju left, Chen Lang wiped the sweat from his forehead. "This person is extremely dangerous," she said softly. Chen Lang nodded. He couldn't afford to offend two giant monsters at once. He was no longer as naive as before, understanding how terrifying the Skycliff Sea Pavilion and Floating Pagoda Mountain were. Because of Ning Hen, the relationship with Skycliff Sea Pavilion was beyond repair. They didn't just have a conflict, they simply looked down on him. The slap from above had blocked his path. Floating Pagoda Mountain sounded creepy and was even more terrifying in reality. They had once poisoned Zhu Yin, and the matter of the Sword King's son had their shadow behind Yan Nanfei. They could be seen as enemies, but not to the point of being irreconcilable. If he could develop some extraordinary friendship, it wouldn't be bad. However, this organization was too mysterious and powerful. Currently, Chen Lang hadn't grasped their pulse. In the documents sent to Wu Du Tu, besides the handsome portrait, there was also a secret letter. The first 3 parts of the letter would make one blush, but the last third was extremely serious, providing a deep and academic analysis of ancient civilization, clearly implying, "I, Chen Lang, I'm a genius, especially in ancient civilization research, so floating pagoda mountain should hurry up and recruit me. At that moment, Mens quietly appeared behind him. Brother Lang, aren't I your only brother? Chen Lang quickly turned his head. Brother, that other one was just for show. You are my real brother. Mens gave him a meaningful look. Do you know what Wu Juzi's nickname is? Chen Lang shook his head. Stone Demon. He paused. Is the Stone Demon a woman? Mens nodded slightly in confirmation. That woman absolutely detests the company of men, and she is 17 years older than you. Are you sure you still want to write the kind of secret letter? Chen Lang hurriedly waved his hands. How would I dare to seduce her? I'm just expressing a student's respect for a female teacher. Mens let out a long sigh. More than 10 years ago, the young master from the Pavilion of Heavens with a prominent status and peerless martial arts pursued her. They were perfectly matched in status, looking like a pair made in heaven. Do you know what the result was? Chen Lang's throat felt dry as he swallowed. She considered it an insult. The marriage proposal was seen as a stain on her reputation. They dueled, and she lost. She went into seclusion for 10 years, came back to win, and then crushed one of his testicles. Chen Lang instinctively squeezed his legs together. Brother, why didn't you tell me something so important sooner? Unmen shrugged. I didn't expect you to be so reckless. Who is stronger, Power Zuyin? Chen Lang asked in a low voice. Mengs only replied with a look. Those who focus more purely on martial arts are often more terrifying. Don't worry, he added. You're so weak she'd probably be too lazy to even lift a hand against you. Then he said solemnly, Brother Lang, Mount Budu is extremely dangerous. After Jen Lai's downfall, they were one of the biggest beneficiaries, and they even played a role in the incident that cannot be spoken of directly. It's best not to get too deeply involved with an organization like that. Chen Lai nodded. He didn't plan on getting too involved with Mount Budu anyway. He only wanted to get closer to Wu Juzi, not in a romantic sense, but because she wasn't just a martial arts grandmaster. In some ways, she was like a mad researcher obsessed with bloodline studies. To her, romance was a waste of time. Such people were both dangerous and pure. If he became an unofficial disciple, this future bloodline research would have a powerful protective umbrella. However, provoking a neurotic woman who was also a martial arts grandmaster was risky. If he angered her, she might come straight to his door to kill him. The next day, Chen Lang returned to the underground secret chamber. 2 maps hung on the wall. The first was covered with small flags, each representing a convoy carrying 700 bloodline users. They were all gathering at Longevity Fort, 150 miles from the capital, to rest for a night before heading south to the northern enclosure for hunting. The Nirvana Army, Heavenly Way Society Warriors, and Ku Taoyuan's elite bandits had arrived to provide support. Chen Lang pondered. This was the second group of the Nirvana Army, the key trump card for Ningzhen to seize the throne and the blade poised to sever the foundations of the Crown Prince and the Third Prince. Sword King Lai Tankyu was also stationed there, while more than 1,000 warriors from the Hidden Argent Society had left their Yinji Tower headquarters. Their movements were mysterious, but they were likely heading toward Longevity Fort, their sole target being the 700 bloodline users. His gaze shifted to the second map, the underground schematic of Yinji Tower. With secret passages and subterranean rivers intertwining like a spider's web, a direct assault would be suicide. He could only use a strategy, and it had to be an unprecedented method, like a divine strike from the heavens, to level the century-old headquarters of the Hidden Argent Society in one go. Have the invitations for this afternoon's opera been sent out? Chen Lang asked. Chen Shisen replied, They have. We aren't included. There are 50 invitations in total, almost all for the Crown Prince's faction. Those currently in office will avoid suspicion and won't attend, but their families and retired veteran officials will certainly show up. There were still 6 hours before the performance began. The corners of Chen Lang's mouth curled up slightly. A group of nobles gathering in Yinji Tower to watch an opera, only for the century-old building to suddenly collapse into ruins. How horrific would that scene be? Just thinking about it made his blood boil. Just then, someone rushed in to report, Then Master, the 700 bloodline users have arrived at Longevity Fort, but the situation is critical. The place is under attack by a large and extremely powerful enemy force whose primary goal is to seize our bloodline users. The air in the secret chamber seemed to freeze, but Chen Lang did not panic. He only curled his lips lightly, his gaze as cold as a blade just drawn from its scabbard. It's finally here. The Great War officially begins. PT.